Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel, I hope. Everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. DWTS, Jenn Tran thinks judges scored her unfairly. Did Bachelor Nation's Jenn Tran get the short end of the stick during DWTS on Tuesday night? That's the common belief many DWTS viewers hold after Oscars night wrapped up. So what happened? Jenn Tran wishes the judges would have shown her some grace. On Oscars night, Jenn Tran and Sasha Farber performed the tango to A Little Party Never Killed Nobody, All We Got, by Fergie, Q-Tip, and Goonrock. While audience members seemed impressed with her performance, the judges only awarded them a 19/30. That's not a terrible score for week 2, but fans say deserved more. They earned the same score as Tori Spelling and Pasha Pashkov, who were eliminated at the end of the night. But what does Jenn think? Fans who tuned into Oscars night remember that Jenn and Sasha had a mishap with their music. The pair struggled to hear the song on the dance floor, though it seemed to air just fine for viewers at home. Jenn and Sasha soldiered on, but dancing while unable to keep up with the music proved incredibly difficult. Since they had the first routine of the night, the sound technicians seemed to rectify the problem before the next performers took the stage. However, the judges didn't take the music situation into account while scoring. In a post-episode interview with Us Weekly, the Bachelorette star confessed it bothered her a little. However, her partner cheered her on. "I was so proud of her that they could have given us a 1, and it wouldn't have bothered me because she was just like, wow. That's a 10 in my book," Sasha told the publication. The Bachelorette star wants to push forward. Although Tuesday night's episode was a bit disappointing, Jenn Tran knows she has to keep her eyes on the prize. "It goes with everything I've been through in my entire life. It's just to keep going and keep going. That's just the motto I live by." Jenn continued in the interview, "So in that moment of panic, I do really well under pressure. So I just kept going and tried my best. I'm happy that I was still on the music and still made it all the way through. That just proves what an incredible performer she is and what an incredible dancer she's turning into," Sasha added. "That was a really hard routine, and she came out and she didn't forget a single step. There was no music. She was in time with no music because the music picked up in the middle of the dance when she got in, and she stayed directly on the timing without a click track." The ballroom was bathed in golden light as Jenn Tran took center stage, her face beaming with confidence, the music pulsing through her veins. It was the third week of Dancing with the Stars, and Jenn, known for her fierce determination and effortless grace, had prepared relentlessly for her Roomba performance. She and her professional partner had spent grueling hours perfecting every twirl, every subtle gesture, until they could breathe life into the dance. The rumba is about passion, control, and fluidity, and Jenn believed she had captured all three. Draped in an elegant dress of shimmering gold, her every move told a story of longing and desire. She glided across the floor as if her feet weren't touching it at all, her partner leading her into breathtaking lifts and sensual dips. By the time the final note of the song echoed in the ballroom, the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Jenn's heart swelled with pride. This was the moment she had dreamed of. But then came the part that every contestant dreads, the judges' critiques. Carrie Ann Inabo was the first to speak, her lips curving into a polite but firm smile. "Jenn, there's no doubt you have a natural grace about you. But tonight, I felt like something was missing. The passion didn't quite translate. You've got to feel the dance, not just execute it." Jenn's smile wavered, her fingers clasped tightly in front of her. She had poured her heart into that performance. How could they not see it? Next came Derek Ho, who leaned back in his chair, nodding. "You have incredible lines, Jenn, and you are improving each week. But I have to agree with Carrie Ann. There was a lack of chemistry between you and your partner. I didn't feel that emotional connection I was hoping for." The sting of his words hit Jenn like a punch to the gut. Chemistry. Hadn't she worked hard enough to make sure the dance radiated intensity? Finally, Len Budman, ever the stern critic, folded his hands in front of him. Jenn, I appreciate your effort, but your technique is still quite rough. There were several moments where your footwork was sloppy. You've got the potential, but you need to focus on the fundamentals. Jenn's eyes widened. Sloppy? Her footwork had been meticulously drilled into her muscle memory. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Then came the moment of truth, the scores. Carrie Ann, 7. Derek, 6. Len, 5. Jenn's heart sank. A 5? Len's score felt like a personal jab. She glanced around, looking for reassurance, but the audience's polite applause only intensified the gnawing frustration in her chest. Her professional partner gave her a supportive squeeze, but it did little to quell the anger bubbling beneath the surface. After the show wrapped, Jenn found herself backstage, still in her gold gown, pacing back and forth. The other contestants were celebrating their performances, but Jenn could feel the weight of the judges' words pressing down on her. She glanced at the large mirror reflecting her troubled face and sighed deeply. How could they think I wasn't good enough? She muttered, staring at her own reflection as if it would offer some sort of clarity. Her partner approached her, sensing her turmoil. Jenn, don't take it personally. The judges are tough on everyone. But Jenn wasn't convinced. She had seen the scores from the other contestants. Some had fumbled, made blatant mistakes, and still walked away with higher marks. What was it about her performance that warranted such harsh criticism? The following morning, Jenn decided to take her frustrations public. She logged onto social media, where her fans had already begun flooding her feed with supportive comments. But despite the outpouring of love, the sting of the judges' critiques still smarted. Honestly, I'm disappointed, Jenn typed in a candid post. I put my heart and soul into that performance, and to be told that it lacked passion and chemistry feels unfair. I know I'm not a professional dancer, but I don't think the judges were fair to me last night. The post quickly went viral, with thousands of likes and comments pouring in from fans who echoed her sentiments. Many believed she'd have been unfairly scored and deserved higher marks. Others debated whether the show's judging criteria were too subjective, especially for celebrities like Jenn, who weren't professional dancers. As the controversy grew, so did the media buzz. Morning talk shows and entertainment news segments picked up the story, discussing whether Jenn had a valid point. Some speculated that the judges might have personal biases, or that they were scoring certain contestants more leniently to make the competition more interesting. Jenn wasn't one to shy away from the spotlight. But this felt different. Instead of celebrating her accomplishments, she found herself defending her skills as a dancer. Her frustration had transformed into a determination to prove the judges wrong. I'm coming back stronger, she told herself, her eyes narrowing in focus. I'm not going to let them dictate how I feel about my progress. I'll make them see. The following week, Jenn threw herself into rehearsals with renewed vigor. Every step, every spin, every movement was done with precision and purpose. Her partner, sensing her newfound fire, pushed her harder than ever. Together, they worked tirelessly to perfect their next routine, a fiery paso doble. When Jenn returned to the ballroom floor, the stakes felt higher. But this time, she was not just dancing to impress the judges, she was dancing to reclaim her confidence. As the music began and the dance unfolded, it was clear to everyone watching that Jenn was not the same contestant from the previous week. Her movements were sharp, her expressions fierce, and the chemistry between her and her partner undeniable. Every flick of her wrist, every stomp of her foot echoed with intensity. By the time the routine ended, the audience was on their feet, cheering loudly. Jenn stood there, chest heaving, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. This time, there was no doubt in her mind. She had nailed it. As the judges gave their critiques, even the typically hard-to-please Len Goodman couldn't help but acknowledge her growth. Jenn had redeemed herself, and she knew it. The scores reflected her hard work. Carrie Ann, 9. Derek, 9. Len, 8. Though the journey had been tough, Jenn had proven something important to herself, that she wasn't just dancing for scores, She was dancing for her own fulfillment. And that, in the end, was the sweetest victory.